A furious whirl of wind rotates on a rampage.
I just couldn't believe the size of it because it was just too big to be for real.
The superstorms that spawn tornadoes have other serious side effects.
Oh my God!
Lightning that strikes hundreds every year.
It just hit and it just knocked everyone down.
Hail that falls with a violent force.
It's terrible, it hurt, and we were scared.
And microbursts that drop planes from the sky.
Get away with the windows! Get away!
The devastating weather of superstorms. Nature at its fiercest.
Look at there.
Look at the highway trees.
Oh,
Power line just went out.
power line just went out. Look at them. The power lines, I'm getting every power line out.
It's July in Minnesota. The Goodry family is having a lakeside party when an uninvited guest drops in.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes.
This beautiful weather display is a demon in disguise.
And all the electricity, all the power lines are going.
You are watching a phenomenon few have ever seen. The birth of a tornado.
It is incredible. It's coming across the lake right now.
The rushing wind is what's called an updraft.
Well, you can hear it, you can see it.
The family doesn't realize it's a sign of deadly weather.
Watch your little funnel clouds spit out of that crater.
Look at that funnel.
Within moments, it metamorphosizes into a monster. The Goodrys rush for cover.
Get away from the windows. Tree just blew over. Get away from the windows. Get away. Get away. Get away. Get away. Get away. Where's everybody? Where's everybody?
The Goodrys will survive unscathed, but their ordeal serves to prove that what we don't know about the weather could kill us. In the beginning, it looks harmless. As the sun-warmed earth heats moist air, it rises and condenses, forming clouds. This process is called convection, and when strong enough, a towering cumulonimbus cloud forms, the signature of a thunderstorm. The rising warm air creates an updraft, fueling the storm. Some thunderclouds can reach 9 miles high. These thunderstorms can grow into giant weather systems called supercells. Awesome, ominous superstorms that can span the horizon, packing gargantuan power that eventually must be released with lightning, twisters, and hail. Rock-hard balls of ice hammering down on the earth. Hailstorms can seem like cannonball attacks from above. These onslaughts of ice cause over $1.5 billion worth of damage in the U.S. each year, and they're deadly.
Ow!
Farmers call it the White Plague.
Poor animals are getting hit.
They watch helplessly as hail bombards their animals, sometimes killing them and shredding their crops. Hailstones can be as small as a pea or larger than a baseball.
That's huge. Those were up in the clouds.
To demonstrate their impact and velocity, we asked a baseball pitcher to play the part of the thunderstorm. His target, a common victim of hail. His throw hit at over 70 miles per hour, the average speed of a large falling hailstone. The same thing happened 1,000-fold to a garden nursery in Denver, Colorado, when a monster hailstorm pummeled the city in 1990. The storm, which hit Denver head-on, unleashed golf ball-sized hail like an iron-fisted barrage. For the unlucky moms and kids trapped atop a Ferris wheel, it was as if they were in a war zone.
It's terrible. It hurt. And we were scared, and we had no baby at all.
One mother used her body as a shield against the hail.
I was covering 2 little girls is what happened, so I got the worst of it.
She was hovering over 2 girls, protecting them from the hail. We had no warning whatsoever.
The type of injuries that we've got in there at this point in time are a lot of bumps, bruises, contusions, really no major injuries.
The injured are rushed to a hospital that had also been damaged by the hail. 2 of its medevac helicopters had their bubbles shattered and rotors damaged. Both copters had just landed with patients moments before the hail struck. Elsewhere across the storm's path, branches and leaves lay torn to the ground. Car windows are punched in. The storm also wreaked havoc with a pottery shop.
The hail was coming down so hard that it was blasting through the windows and across the room and breaking pottery inside the building.
To better understand the storms that bear this white plague, meteorologist Morris Weissman wrangles weather balloons that carry instruments which can send back atmospheric data from the environment, high up in the towering cumulonimbus clouds that signal wild weather.
What we were doing is trying to observe the environment around the storms, the kind of environment that would determine, for instance, whether we're going to get ordinary garden variety thunderstorms or supercell thunderstorms on a given day.
Back in the National Center for Atmospheric Research, Weissman works on a computer model of what happens when giant thunderclouds get pushed over by strong winds high in the atmosphere called wind shear.
On days when there's strong vertical wind shear, you actually see the thunderstorm clouds initially tilting over.
When we generate rotation in a storm, we generate lowered pressure. That acts like a vacuum cleaner that can suck more air up.
The air that's being pulled upward in the updraft is warm and moist. But in the cold troposphere, tiny droplets of water begin to form on dust. These droplets are blasted up and down in the thundercloud's turbulent winds. With each trip, they are coated with ice, growing bigger and bigger until they fall to the ground.
Look at the size of that thing.
But even hail this size is small.
This is a resin model of the hailstone that we call the Coffeyville hailstone because it fell in Coffeyville, Kansas, about 1970. It's one of the largest hailstones that has been collected and weighed. The final fall velocity of a hailstone this size is about 100 miles an hour. This would kill a person if it hit him on the head.
Charlie Knight studies hail that is shipped to him from across the world. Each hailstone tells a story.
These hailstones came from a storm at Fort Collins about 10 years ago. It was actually a storm in which one person was killed by a falling hailstone. It was a small child.
Here in his frigid lab, he opens each as if it is an icy gem.
The ring structure tells you something about the history of the altitude at which the hailstone was growing. This one is mostly pretty bubbly, so it probably formed mostly rather high in the storm.
By better understanding how hail is formed, Charlie Knight hopes someday to help protect people and property from the white plague.
I can't drive. It's impossible to see.
Until then, the very best hope we have is to find shelter of any kind. But when superstorms are brewing, one must seek shelter wisely. The wrong choice, and you could become a living lightning rod. Some call it the autograph of God. It's deadly, sudden, and terrifying. Lightning, white-hot bolts that strike in a split second with 100 million volts of destructive punch. Igniting forest fires that rage out of control, endangering space launches, and killing more than 1,000 men, women, and children in the world each year. Many more are brutally injured. Primitive cultures feared and worshipped lightning. Today, we realize it is just a spark. A killer spark that can be 60 miles long and as hot as the surface of the sun. What we hear as thunder is actually the pressure waves triggered by an explosion of energy. These explosions are ignited when huge opposite charges of electricity build up inside thunder clouds and then suddenly discharge. The buildup of static electricity on the ground can provide an ominous warning of where and when lightning will strike. When these Colorado hikers saw their hair stand on end, they took these pictures. Moments later, one was critically injured and a nearby hiker dead, victims of a savage lightning strike.
Oh my God!
An open field is a dangerous place in a thunderstorm. When the Decatur, Indiana high school football team sees lightning approaching, they break for cover, but the lightning won't let them escape. A fierce bolt slams into the ground beside them, knocking several players down and temporarily paralyzing them.
It just hit and it just knocked everyone down.
And I looked up and everybody was on the ground.
It's not a direct strike, but one student says it feels like a sledgehammer hit him.
The voltage basically flashes over the ground and up the victim's legs through their feet. And a lot of our victims have reported some pain in their feet, some numbness and tingling in our extremities.
The team will recover and play again. Philip Kurtz may never be the man he once was. During a thunderstorm, while fixing the plumbing at his in-laws, he went to his truck to get a wrench.
Just at that instant, when I took hold of that wrench, I heard an extremely loud explosion like I had never heard before.
Phil came through the door and he was convulsing and he had flames rolling down his body and his belt buckle was sparking. He took one step inside the kitchen and fell to the floor.
Thousands of miles away in California, lightning will tear into Lana Andrews' life just as suddenly. With her good friend Bunny, Lana takes her first backpacking trip, a challenge for her 50th birthday.
You could see how nice it was, blue sky, we were warm, we had no inkling this was going to happen.
Lana and Bunny are high on Mount Whitney, where the weather can change without warning. Just after lunch, it starts to sprinkle.
The leader of our group said, if lightning starts happening, throw off all the metal that you're wearing and run down in the clearing and crouch down. And even then I thought, oh, okay, I didn't take it that seriously. Boy, I do now.
The rain turns into hail. A horse and rider with a pack mule are in front of them.
And then we started to hike, and that's the last thing I remember.
The mule and horse are killed instantly. The rider, trapped under his fallen horse, is screaming. Bunny is stunned but unhurt. She sees smoke rising from Lana's body.
She was face down in the mud, The bill of her hat was buried in the mud, and she wasn't breathing. I turned her face to the side and tried to dig the mud out of her mouth.
Lana seemed to be dead, but a moment later, she began to moan.
I didn't feel anything except felt nausea, I felt disoriented, and I felt really cold, chilled to the bone, shaking. That was so cold. And I said, "Why are those horses laying down? Horses don't lay down." It shows you my mental state.
When lightning hits a person, medical examination often reveals that the charge was conducted by the brain and nerves, which can be badly damaged. The heart can stop, internal organs can be injured, and the skin scorched.
One big myth is if you're struck by lightning, you've got to be dead. And so I'm alive, so did I really get struck by lightning? But I did. My injuries are all internal. And it's hard to see. And it's hard for people to understand that.
Phil Kurtz says that when he hears silence now, he fears lightning. He's been brought to the special lightning strike team at Chicago's Loyola University. Phil fights bravely against brain damage, internal organ failure, and excruciating pain. Doctors have no cure for what lightning has done to this survivor.
The areas in the body which are most likely to conduct electrical energy are going to be the cardiovascular and the neurologic systems. Mr. Kurtz is a good example of that. While to look at him, he could be someone strolling down the street with his wife. He clearly cannot function at the level that he did.
Why does one victim emerge unscathed, another crippled, one live and another die? Scientists are unsure. Each strike is unique, and lightning is too dangerous to study up close. Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers, risked his life in 1752 by flying a kite in a thunderstorm. When a metal key tied to the twine sparked, Franklin proved that the air was charged with electricity. His discovery led him to the invention of the lightning rod to guide the dangerous voltage safely into the ground.
5, 4.
But as the human race blazes new paths, lightning seems to pursue us.
Commit, liftoff.
In 1969, the Apollo 12 moon mission was struck twice as it was blasting through the atmosphere. NASA was forced to enact tough new regulations that prohibit a launch if lightning is detected within a 10-mile radius.
Okay, we're all organized again, Jen. We've had a couple of cardiac arrests down here too, Pete.
From space, lightning makes a spectacular light show. At any moment, there are more than 2,000 thunderstorms simultaneously raging across the surface of the Earth.
You gotta go orbit, you're looking good.
Back on the ground at the Lightning Detection Center in Denver, Colorado, over 100 monitoring stations produce an almost instantaneous picture of lightning across the United States. Nevertheless, lightning inflicts an estimated $1 billion in damage each year in the U.S. alone. The biggest hits come when it knocks out power plants. Sometimes whole cities are blacked out. To help us better understand lightning's awesome force, science must draw it from the sky to measure it for study.
It's a different kind of research. It's not like in the lab where you can make something happen over and over again until everything's right and then you make the measurement.
Dr. Martin Uman is a modern-day Ben Franklin. Along with his team of lightning chasers at the University of Florida, Uman is trying to do something man has never done: make lightning strike where he commands. Uman does this by aiming a research rocket at thunderclouds. He connects a wire to the rocket and grounds it to a tower. lightning strikes the trailing wire and streaks down to the launching pad to be analyzed. But even for scientists, the phenomenon remains an awesome reminder of the furious power of superstorms, which can spawn an even more terrifying sight, a tornado. It's the start of tornado season in the dead center of America. A nasty thunderstorm is brewing in the late afternoon over Wichita, Kansas.
The city of Kansas has issued a tornado warning.
All day long we've been hearing that there was going to be lots of tornadoes in the area. So I left work a little early, thinking I'd come home and be ready for it.
As retired barber Joe Parsley returns to his mobile home park under a murderous sky, police in the small town of Andover receive the news. A vicious twister is on its way. But the town's warning siren won't work.
I was expecting that the big siren to go off, which never did.
So a police car with sirens blaring speeds to Joe's neighborhood to send people to the community storm cellar as the monster hits nearby McConnell Air Force Base.
Oh, God. Oh, God. You got this on camera? Yeah.
It tears off the wing of a hospital, rips through a bowling alley, and blows a legal center apart. Now, it heads straight for the trailer park.
Coming right towards our house.
Came outside, I looked to the west. Big, gigantic tornado. I mean, the walls were straight up and down. I just couldn't believe the size of it because it was just too big to be for real.
The police officer who had come to warn residents sees it too. He guns the engine, knowing tornadoes can move across the landscape at 50 miles per hour.
I realized that I didn't have time to make it to the tornado shelter. I was watching 2x4s and all that debris fly, and I knew that I had to be in a place that would shield me. The only thing I could think of was my pickup truck.
Joe dives under his truck and grabs onto the transmission just as the tornado hits.
In my mind, I thought, well, I'm going to watch as long as I can because this will probably be the last thing I'll ever see.
The monster slams Joe's truck into a tree, then blasts out of town on its terrible 43-mile journey.
But it was like the old devil itself had moved on.
We have 4 confirmed that are dead. We have 1 that we just took out in critical condition. We have 3 that are extremely critical.
This violent interruption of small-town life leaves residents stunned.
And we did see one lady laying along the road, dead there as we walked out.
When I came back, I seen a lot of neighbors that didn't make it. It was sad.
Other twisters from the same storm wreaked havoc over Kansas. 14 people died that day, 11 in Joe's community, which was obliterated.
These 2 trailers were completely gone. We could not find any of the remains.
They said that he was out in the field. Maybe he ran back in the ditch.
Desperate parents search for their children. The luckier relatives have tearful reunions. Beneath the wreckage, pinned under his truck, Joe sees it all.
It was a clean sweep. It was of such gigantic force that it was unbelievable. it definitely puts the fear of God into you.
Joe is rushed to the hospital, where the sound of the tornado still rings in survivors' ears.
It sounds like a freight train, and it didn't seem like it was ever going to stop. It just kept going and going, and all of a sudden it was gone.
Everybody said it sounded like a freight train. Myself, it sounded to me like jets. It was so loud. It was unbelievably loud.
Survivors may disagree, but science is trying to recognize the sounds of tornadoes. Al Bedard is interested in the noises of nature. At the University of Colorado, this professor of aerospace atmospherics works with students on this unique twister in a tank called a vortex generator. With a microphone feeding sound waves, an oscilloscope creates the distinctive voice print of a vortex.
One guess is that the vortex is vibrating, or all these little corrugations that you see running around them may be involved with the sound generation process.
This is a variable capacitor microphone. It's not a conventional microphone.
Bedard works with students in the field, picking up the sounds of the Earth on an ultra-sensitive microphone that can receive audio signals for thousands of miles. One day, while listening for avalanches in the nearby Rocky Mountains, they detect this familiar low-frequency sound pattern, inaudible to the human ear. It appears to be the voice print of a twister. Later weather data proves that one has indeed dropped down nearby. Dr. Bedard starts matching sound data to weather tornadoes.
We were getting the voice prints of the laboratory vortices, and they really did have a unique character to them. I have made the analogy of the smaller tornadoes being sopranos, and the larger tornadoes being a basso. Now, a major tornado will be producing sounds over a very broad range of frequencies. Many of the sounds might be the tornado winds whirling around buildings, interacting with trees.
The professor says that learning to listen for tornadoes may someday provide faster, better warnings to people in a twister's path.
Oh my God. I hate Oklahoma.
If you were living in Kansas or a tornado-prone area, if anything that we could do to increase reliability of warnings of tornadoes, you'd be more likely to really pay attention to it.
Listening for twisters is one way to eventually improve warnings. Looking at them in intimate detail was the goal of another remarkable scientific team, Project Vortex.
The most common job during Vortex was basically just trying to keep up, or trying to find out where Vortex was and how far we've been left behind.
Dr. Joshua Werman is one of 80 scientists in the largest tornado field experiment ever staged. For 2 summers, a twister-chasing armada, loaded with weather-reading technology, chases tornado-spawning superstorms.
We will attempt to target this storm if it does appear that it will produce a tornado.
Look at that hole there.
Dr. Eric Rasmussen leads the twister troops.
We had a good idea that tornadoes were associated with what we call supercell storms, but the mechanics of how the tornado itself forms were completely unknown.
To understand the inner workings of a tornado, the scientists set out to witness a twister from birth to death.
Bobby, we're in danger. Get us out of here. Get us out, quick!
But Tornado Alley spreads over 5 states. Each time a supercell builds, the scientists must make a mad dash hundreds of miles across the plains. One of the most important tools in finding unborn twisters is mobile Doppler radar. By bouncing radar beams off particles suspended in a storm, Dr. Werman gets an extraordinary picture.
With a Doppler radar,
we can see how much rain or how much debris is in any particular place in the storm, and we can make a map of that.
This map is actually a cross-section, a bird's-eye view of a twister-generating supercell.
Seeing what something looks like is the first step to understanding it.
If seeing is understanding, then Texas Bible salesman Ted Quillen is about to be enlightened. A powerful twister is headed toward his town of Pampa.
And I went outside to see what kind of a whirlwind it was, and just south of here, probably a mile, was Grandpappy. It was huge, black, mean looking.
There went the barn, look at that. Oh my God. Look.
And after it made the turn and started straight for me, I had to do something, so I come down into the cellar. I chained the door and sat down on the top steps.
As Quillen huddles in the dark, the Vortex team races in his direction. They're chasing a series of supercells that drop other twisters in their path. Spinning chaos flings mayhem in the path of Project Vortex scientists trying to reach the storms causing twisters in Texas. There are downbursts that almost force Vortex cars off the road.
Face the wind! Face the wind! Face the wind! Back it up! All right, there you go. Oh, my God!
There is lightning, striking too close for comfort. And there is hail that shatters the window of this Vortex car. These close encounters have helped the scientists understand how the rotating forces in a supercell can spin into killer tornadoes.
You could take something that's rotating like this, and if part of it's caught in the downdraft because of the rain, and part of it's caught in the updraft, you can take that rotation and turn it into a rotation like that.
And then that rotation gets drawn in like a skater pulling in their arms. And it spins faster and faster.
This is the force that now tears off Ted Quillen's chain cellar door.
I was in fear for my life because I thought the vacuum alone would kill me. And it dearly tried. It tried to suck my lungs right out of my body.
The twister is ripping through Pampa at 250 miles per hour.
Yep.
Downed power lines prevent the Vortex team from reaching the besieged town. Below ground, Ted Quillen hangs on for dear life and prays.
This cellar was shaking so bad, the only real thought I had was, it's going to pull this out of the ground and roll me down the street and me in it, because it was actually moving this cellar. I mean, dramatically. And as I looked up, I was looking inside a single vortex tornado.
Outside, the monster rips up industrial buildings, hurls steel beams, and rotates with enough force to throw cars 100 feet at 90 miles an hour.
I only remember one piece of debris, and it was a huge tree trunk. There was very little debris in the center of the tornado, if any.
As the monster moves out of Pampa, it leaves unbelievable wreckage in its wake and an unforgettable smell.
The smell is like wet mud. If you ever smell it, it's like the sound. You'll never forget it.
The Bible salesman has seen what the Vortex team has been chasing for 2 years. The inner workings of a tornado. Just 2 weeks before Project Vortex is scheduled to end, the scientists still haven't witnessed the birth of a twister. But finally, the winds of luck change.
Rick, we got a large tornado on the ground right now in Texas.
After a white-knuckled supercell chase across 3 states, they race down a Texas road into a hammering hailstorm.
There were power lines down, there was a 18-wheeler jackknifed across the road, there were gas lines that were open, the tornado sirens were going.
It was pretty obvious to the eye that this storm meant business. It was just a wonderful looking supercell and it was showing rotation.
It is a violent, classic supercell producing violent tornadoes.
In the tiny burg of Dimmitt, Texas, the convoy of weather equipment is finally in the right place at the right time. The supercell is about to give birth to a twister.
This thing is huge. That is a major tornado.
Vortex has the funnel so surrounded that it almost lands on a scientist on the far side of the field. As it forms, the rapidly growing infant rips up highway asphalt.
I had teams all around it. I knew exactly where the tornado was in time. Yeah, we knew we had it. We knew we had it nailed.
I'm sure I'll remember that as one of the, sort of best days of my life. It was just amazing data, like no one had ever seen before. And I was basically just glued to my computer screen, seeing the inside of the tornado.
The Dimmitt Twister became the most thoroughly observed tornado in history. New insight into a tornado's anatomy emerged as the Doppler cross-sections were analyzed. Scientists were amazed to see how this tornado made radical structural changes from minute to minute. A downdraft is observed, plunging through the eye at 50 miles per hour.
As the air spreads toward a common center from all sides in this downdraft, when it gets to that common center, then it abruptly turns upward and spins stronger, and that's the tornado itself.
This was just the beginning of the revelations for the men fortunate enough to see the inside of a twister and live to tell about it.
For me as a radar meteorologist, seeing the data coming out of them and really seeing inside the storm and seeing the velocity structure is really fascinating. I mean, they're beautiful, they're very violent, they're rare.
And it's coming right toward us here. So I'm going to back off and begin to take some cover.
I'd always wanted to see one of these things up close. And this was closer than I wanted, but it was so beautiful and everything just what you think it would be. The power, the awesome, perverted power of this thing.
The power of a superstorm has one more weapon of destruction. An invisible killer, feared by all who fly unfriendly skies. Pilots dislike thunderstorms.
Hey, the heavy stuff is to the left, right? Affirmative.
And it's not just lightning, hail, and turbulence they fear. When the warm air in a thundercloud rises to high altitude, it gets cold, wet, and heavy. Then it falls. Sometimes with a force so great that any plane in its path is doomed. This force is called a microburst.
We kept going up and coming down and going back up and coming down. We thought there weren't any place, maybe on the runway, for us to land.
Annie Edwards is one of 134 passengers on a Delta flight from Florida that circles a violent thunderstorm over Dallas-Fort Worth Airport.
From looking out the window, you could see that it was raining because we did come down low enough where we thought we were going to land, and we had to go back up again.
Lightning coming out of that one. What? Lightning coming out of that one. Right ahead of me.
After circling the field a final time, the pilots have no idea they're approaching a monstrous microburst. But at a critically low altitude, they sense that something is wrong.
You're going to lose it all of a sudden. There it is. Push it up. Push it way up. Way up, way up, way up. That's it.
Suddenly, a huge force from above pushes the plane like a giant unseen hand.
Hang on.
Everybody was holding on because we knew something was wrong.
The pilots gunned the engines with all 130,000 pounds of thrust. It is no use.
When the fire was approaching me, I could feel the heat, but it did not burn nor singe. So I said God was there with me.
Miraculously, Annie is left dangling in the severed tail section with 26 other survivors. But the bodies of 134 passengers lay strewn across a field.
I heard nobody scream. I heard nobody cry out or anything. It was complete silence.
Then, the thunderstorm that killed them lets loose again.
There was terrible rain, hail, and lightning. That's when I thought we must have gone right into the center of a tornado. We said, the crash didn't kill us. Lord, please, we hope the lightning won't kill us, because it was just that fierce.
The violent thunderstorm had undoubtedly caused the crash. But what part? Wind shear was suspected, but the facts didn't add up. Investigators combed through the wreckage of Flight 191 and pored over the data from earlier crashes. The culprit is shown in this computer animation, a savage breed of wind shear called the microburst. Wet, heavy air that drops at up to 60 miles an hour, slowing the plane so it loses the lift it needs to stay aloft. It's now believed that microbursts caused half of all air disasters before that fateful day.
They're sudden, and you get no warning. You can fly for 30 years and never have an experience with one, and all of a sudden you find yourself out of ideas and airspeed at a very crucial point of the flight.
Pilot Dick Yenny has become a microburst pro. He's part of a NASA team created in the wake of Delta Flight 191. Its mission? To develop microburst detection technology for commercial aircraft. Yenny's orders seem suicidal. Fly directly into microbursts at low altitude where they occur and where they're most dangerous.
We'll be at 5 miles as we come out.
This one is a real small one. We can see right through it.
Safety precautions have been taken. Yenny and his co-pilots have extensive microburst simulation training. The plane's fuel tanks are specially sealed to prevent lightning from exploding the plane. Onboard technicians study prototype microburst detection equipment.
Okay, say reflectivity, Lincoln. Now it's 5-1-10.
The red arrow near the center of this screen shows where the plane is. The oval represents a storm system. The small square within the oval is an oncoming microburst.
Is going around ahead. Microburst alert. Threshold wind 0903. Expect a 70.
On the radar screen, sudden shifts from orange-yellow to blue indicate the severe wind shear of a microburst. If the plane hits the dark red at low altitude, it could crash.
And we're in moderate wind.
Front is actually where the circles are the same.
No, that's a microburst. That's the speed.
The pilots use the detection displays to avoid the deadliest downdrafts. But a lightning strike could knock the instruments dead, leaving the pilots blind to the oncoming danger.
Oh, I think we got struck by lightning. Yeah, we heard it pop back here.
Well, what do we have to do after a lightning strike?
The only thing I see back here is that Dave Hinton is glowing red and his hair is all kinky.
Yeah, 460 back radar.
Luckily, the microburst detection equipment still works. The crew that could joke about danger has defied microbursts many times and survived. Through their efforts, NASA and the FAA have perfected similar wind shear and microburst detection systems, which now give pilots a warning of 30 seconds or more, eliminating a deadly surprise. The NASA flights help create new microburst survival guidelines for pilots that evolved into this virtual reality simulation. Pilots can hit the severe wind shear of a microburst in cyberspace to learn to handle the real thing.
But after you fly through it a couple times and you know it's there, you can fly right through that. And with this warning of 30 to 40 seconds, My goodness, there should be no reason whatsoever for a wind shear accident or even an incident.
Is going around ahead. Microburst alert.
I'm really proud to have been a part of that research.
In the world of weather science, research can be as rewarding as it is risky.
No two storms and no two tornadoes are the same, so there's always something new. And watching one form and watching one move across the countryside, they really are beautiful in many ways.
The miracle of weather renews life on Earth. As rain waters the crops, nitrogen created by lightning fertilizes the soil. Superstorms help regulate the temperature of the planet. And in tornado-ravaged farm towns like Andover, Kansas, the weather brings lessons in life itself. Twister survivor Joe Parsley's community has been rebuilt. And after many operations, so has he. Despite the trauma, Joe somehow has positive memories of the day the twister ripped through town, of how his neighbors pulled together, and of his first thoughts as death passed him by.
All of a sudden I realized, hey, I've survived this sucker, I'm still alive. Unbelievable to me that I was.